Hey guys, how's it going on here? Welcome to round 5 already of the F1 2016 career mode on the channel, where we have got a new upgrade for Barcelona. Round 5 of the season, and you can see a new part has been fitted. Upgrade level 1 out of the chassis development, and on the left hand side you can see over here as well. Some competitors have brought upgrades as well, mainly McLaren, Honda and Manor.
Hi, just letting you know that we've had the team's expectations through for the upcoming qualifying session.
As always, qualifying goals are on the screen right now, and I decided to not fit any upgrades. The resource points were quite low, so I wanted to save it and after Monaco do another big update or something like that. Save it for now.
Here we are at the Circuito de Barcelona-Catalunya for the start of today's qualifying session. It won't be long now until we're ready to join the action down at trackside.
Qualifying it is. We're about a minute away from ending Q1. Currently in P21 only with a 123.759, and I knew that I had to get everything out of the bag. I knew at this stage that my rival Grosjean did a 22.2, so we're 1.5 seconds off our rival. It honestly didn't look like a great weekend. I failed the qualifying program, I think, and the tire wear test. So those are 3 programs which I failed, 2 out of 3 which I failed. It was pretty tough, but still I wanted to do and try everything to get through to Q2, and I think that would have been the maximum, to be honest. You can see there I'm going a little bit on the grass in my qualifying lap of the first sector, though being a bit more than 3 tenths up. That is something good, and I get on the AstroTurf on the outside there, causes a bit of wheel spin and causes myself to be surprised as well. This corner here was the most trickiest of the whole track, I would say. That very tricky chicane, and right in the middle of practice 3 I also had quite low downforce. I was going with 3.1 downforce, and I was like, it's just not going to work. So I switched to a higher downforce, I think 7.6, right in the middle of practice 3. But the damage was already done by then. I switched too late to that setup, and I had to get used to it and whatnot. And I was already used to the downforce with the setup with the lower downforce. Can we still get into Q2 though? That's the question. We'll open up the DOS for the run to the line right now and then immediately cross the line, and I don't think it will be enough, is it? Let's have a quick look. P18, no, so we improved from P21 to P18. It's something, but still way off the pace, and that is quite embarrassing. Our teammate there in 14th with 22.8. Quite a painful session for us there. We did not, we didn't perform well, let's put it simple. And you can see there Grosjean at 22.2, a second faster than us. It's a big pain, seeing your rival being that much faster than yourself. But let's try to focus on the race and do our best there.
Hey, how are you? I have some information on the race goals you should keep in mind.
I mean, in Sochi the qualifying didn't go too well either. We did pretty well in the race. However, there is no rain this time, which is going to help us, unlike in Sochi.
Good afternoon from a very familiar setting. It's race day here in Spain, and with everything still to play for in the championship battle, there's no room for mistakes in a Grand Prix that's well known for creating them.
We're not where we expected. Aim to improve our position with a strong start.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, with Nico Rosberg alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Raikkonen, Vettel, Max Verstappen and Ricciardo, Alonso, Button, Kvyat and Valtteri Bottas, Gutierrez, Perez, Romain Grosjean and Palmer, Hülkenberg, Sainz, Felipe Massa and Renault, Haryanto and Wehrlein, Marcus Ericsson and Felipe Nasser starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
This may as well be the worst qualifying of the season, thinking about it. Having a look at the strategy here, will be a dry race, it will be a hot race as well. Having said that, it's only 20 degrees centigrade, so what I said there doesn't make any sense at all. It's not gonna be a hot race. Track temperature is 29 degrees, and we're going probably with a one stop here. Probably the best strategy to go, starting from P18 and starting on the medium tire as well. Right, lights out and away we go. P18, Sainz ahead of us had a really poor start, so that's immediately a position gained. Massa up ahead, he is on the soft compound. He had a blistering start, probably because of the tire compound he's on as well. Going on the inside of a lot of cars into turn 1. Quite lucky that we didn't make any contact. and climbing a few positions there inside of turn 3. Then cars are going pretty slowly through here, so it is being careful here. Ooh, okay, you do have to be careful there for your front wing, I was going to say, but then Grosjean is really slow, and in fact we have already overtaken Grosjean on the inside of turn 4. Turn 5 then, the inside of another couple of cars, doing a bit of a dive bomb there, to be honest, but it works. If they leave the door wide open, they shouldn't complain about me going for it. Right on the back of Gutierrez now. Pretty decent start. However, I do have to say as well, the AI gives position quite easily in the opening couple of corners. It depends a little bit from track to track. On this time, on this track, I guess it's pretty heavy, as Gutierrez now leaves the door wide open for turn 10. Is it? I think it is turn 10 or turn 12. I think it is turn 10 there. In before it is turn 11. However, we got the move done on Gutierrez as well. Teammate of Grosjean, by the way, our rival. Grosjean is a bit further down the field though. We overtook him for 14th, I think. So that is good. At least beating our rival completely over the curb there. Lost a little bit of balance in the car and slowed me down a little bit. Button up front. And the McLaren Honda is on the softer compound, so as Gutierrez was knocking right on our door. Then immediately a Force India comes flying by. It's Sergio Perez. We'll have a look on the inside here, so I'm gonna have to leave him room, which I do. However, he can make the move stick on the inside. So P10 after lap 1, that is decent, that is good. However, this is something which always frustrates me a little bit about the Codemasters games, and I said it last time to a friend of mine as well. After lap 1, no, wait, let me put it differently. At the start you can overtake so many cars, you know, like in turn 1 I overtook a few people on the inside because they simply don't go there and they leave the door wide open for you. That all happens on the opening lap, so you gain a lot of positions, but because you gain so many positions you're actually ahead of where you are pace wise. So during the next stages of the races you're basically only looking in the mirrors because the cars behind you are faster, but you overtook them at the start. So that's always what happens with the Codemasters games, at least that's what I have noticed. So for the rest of the race you're basically looking in your mirrors, and that is something which I wanted to avoid, as Perez is a good run on us but doesn't decide to have a look on the inside of turn 1. But I didn't really want to do that. I didn't want to look into our mirrors. I wanted to stay focused on ahead of us as well. However, that was going to be so tough because the cars ahead are obviously a little bit quicker than us, especially because they're on the faster compound as well. However, I was able to stick with Fiat quite nicely here. 1.1 seconds only to the Toro Rosso up ahead. Has to be said, I'm using quite a bit of fuel. Has to be said, I'm pushing quite a bit, but at least we can match the car ahead. In fact, we're being quicker than him, so good news for us. See if we can get within the DRS zone, because that was obviously my target. I was quite pleasantly surprised, so to say, to see that we were able to go a little bit faster than the Toro Rosso up ahead. It was really difficult to be faster because the pace was quite, you know, quite closely matched between Fiat and ourselves. However, it seems like we're able to do a good job here despite being on the medium compound and Fiat up ahead being on soft. The car ahead of Fiat, I think that must be Button in the McLaren Honda. He is also on the softer compound, but not really disappearing on the horizon. A sector where the AI are incredibly quick at is the third sector, the very final sector of the lap. They are so quickly through there, especially through that final chicane and the final corner. That very slow chicane is obviously the chicane I'm talking about. It's a big shame, to be honest, that they have added that chicane. I like the old layout a lot more of Circuito de Barcelona-Catalunya, if I pronounce it correctly. Probably not. However, we are starting to knock on the door of Fiat. It's really good to see. We can fight for P9 then. And again, that's something which I did not expect, because usually after you have done plenty of overtaking at start, you only look behind you. I've explained it before. But that wasn't the case now, and that's glad. Pit window opens in around 8-10 laps, something like that. Then we can fit a set of hard tires for the end of the race. This is the new layout, by the way, with the chicane added. I'm sure most people who watch F1 will remember the old layout as well. It was quite a bit quicker. Quite a lot of people into the pit lane, up to P7 now, and we may as well move ourselves up into P6. Yes, we do. Overtake on Fiat with use of DRS, relatively easy. So Fiat is done now, and Button in the meantime has disappeared on the horizon. So I was talking about before, where I said Button couldn't really disappear on the horizon. He has proved us wrong for sure, and the gap to Button is in fact 4.9 seconds. Nicely in sync with the engineer, eh? So 4.9 then, like we said, in sync with the engineer. And we're starting to have a little bit of a train behind us. Obviously we just overtook Fiat, but there are another 3 cars behind him, 4 cars behind us. And we skip to the end of lap 6, again through that very tight chicane. Fiat comes in, so that releases him, that releases Perez from him, and Perez seems to be having decent pace on his medium tires. He may go for the very same strategy as we are going. And the thing which is actually pretty good right now is that we're going for a 1-stop. Most people who are in the top 10 are probably going to go for a 2-stop because they have qualified on the soft compound, on the option tire in Q2. A little bit of a cut for that chicane there. Should stop doing that as much as possible, of course. And again, we're gonna have to go to rich mixture down the straight. It's clear there's a problem with that car. Perez going to go around the outside here. It's got so much space on the straight here with the use of the DRS, and he is passed. So Perez moves up into P1 because a lot of cars have pitted. So Perez up into P1. We are up into P2. What I wanted to say though is that it's quite good that we are going for a 1-stop here. I think we're on the same strategy as Perez, however we're gonna have to do another 7 laps, and that is quite tough on the tires. However, knowing that we are going to do a hard stint at the end, it's the slowest compound of course available. However, I do think track position is quite important around this track. Yes, we saw Perez flying by down the straight there. However, I do feel like this is a track where you do have a good chance at defending from another car. We'll see how that pans out later on in the race though, as I'm yet to do a little bit more fuel saving, because we've used quite a bit of fuel at the opening stage of this race. I'm going a little bit deep into is the hairpin? I guess it is an hairpin. But as I said, we need to do a little bit of fuel saving, because at the opening stages of the race we used quite a bit of fuel to close down the gap to Fiat. However, it's not a problem, we aren't that much down on fuel usage, so no problem. We'll pick up the RS here on Sergio Perez, and at the end of lap 11, or in the middle of lap 11 I should say, Perez is slowly disappearing into the distance. I mean, I really tried to get in or to stay within his DRS zone, however I couldn't do it. Excuse me. So Hamilton comes flying on the inside now. Gonna try to stick it around the outside, but he has got his car parked on the apex there. So I was on the outside, wanted to switch back to the apex, get a cutback maneuver going, but I couldn't do it. And that moves the Mercedes car up into P2. Another Mercedes car behind us, which is the car of Rosberg. He is on the soft compound. And Perez is having awesome pace at the moment. Can't keep up with him, as you can see on the fuel mixture. You can see that I've used even more fuel in the last couple of laps, and that was just to stick within the DRS range of Perez, but I failed to do so. Hamilton has gone flying by, so has Rosberg now at the start of lap 12, so we're gonna have to look in our mirrors once again as Raikkonen is on the soft compound. However, I'm still optimistic. We are going to pit in about 3 laps time, and perhaps we can do something like we did in Bahrain, where we were in P4, and Ricciardo at that time I think was pushing behind us. Bit of a slide there, there we go, another slight correction at the exit of that hairpin. This is the new section I talked about. Usually you would go to the left here, you would be on the left there and exit with a lot of speed in the final corner, or enter it with a lot of speed, as we are going to pit then. Lap 13 of the race, scheduled pit stop, no problems whatsoever. We are going to do 20 laps on the hard compound, and that's quite a bit. However, if I pit quite early, I'll get an undercut on the other people who are staying out, such as Sergio Perez. So let's push on our outlap here. Maybe we can get Sergio Perez, that would be amazing. One thing which will definitely help is clean air, and we are riding clean air, so no problems for us. We are just gonna have to push here on this lap, on this outlap, and hope that Perez stays out for maybe 2 laps longer than we did, because if he's immediately going to respond this lap to our undercut, I doubt the undercut will actually work. Bottas ahead of us,
minutes.
He is on the
Joey
medium
in the
tire.
pit
We are on the hard tire, of course. Now there's a big train up ahead. You can see it on the minimap too. Two cars exiting or entering the pit lane though, so that's gonna release a couple of cars. However, have we got DRS on Bottas? The answer is yes. So that's gonna help us get some speed down the straight. As has Perez pitted? Is that Perez up front? Yes, it is Perez. So Perez is already into turn 2. No way I made the undercut work there. The gap is a little bit closer than it was before, as we are yet to attack Bottas. Maybe on the inside of turn 4 if I can get a good exit out of this corner, which I did already alongside. Now just have to brake a little bit later than him, which we do first instead of compound, so that's not a problem and it's quite easy. It is good that Perez is right now going to join that train. I assume he will have difficulties in passing people while being in that train. However, we skipped to the end of lap 18, opening up lap 19, and that train has completely vanished. They have all gone into the pit lane, and so Perez has basically been released in clean air, and I couldn't keep up with him. So P5 then, indeed actually, it is a very similar scenario as to what we have seen in Bahrain. Because the same driver is behind us as well, Ricciardo. I think at the time we were fighting for P4, now we are fighting for P5. However, how am I going to keep that Red Bull behind for another 12 laps or so? Well, not by locking up into turn 5. That is for sure. Ricciardo being alongside us over here around the outside of the hair or the chicane here. That is rather difficult to do. However, we can do it, so we stay around the outside there. We have the inside line for the next corner because it was a chicane, and then we'll have the inside line of turn 9 as well. We keep that position. However, there's a little bit of a wake-up call there. I made a mistake into turn 5, and I was pretty aggressive, has to be said, with defending here. I did not want to give this position up easily. I know that the engine from Ricciardo isn't the best in the straight line, so I know that I can at least defend, and I certainly have to, because again Ricciardo is gonna launch himself up alongside us down the main straight. He has the outside line for turn 1. He brakes a little bit later than us. We keep it on the inside though, then block him off on the entry of the second corner, and we are again in front of him. However, Ricciardo has got some decent pace. He's definitely quicker than us at this stage of the race. However, we are just gonna have to find a way to keep him behind for another 10 laps or so. Let's see if I can keep a good line or take a good line into turn 5 this time and not lock up. That seems a lot better. There we go. So 3 cars behind us, 2 cars behind Ricciardo. Bit of a train starting to form obviously behind us as well, because we simply don't have the pace for P5. The only reason that we are in P5 right now is the one-stop strategy and the good start, and that's really it. However, we don't have the raw pace to be in P5. That's that's just true. Let's be honest. Ricciardo on the outside now of us cannot make it stick. No, we fed him off, so he's gonna have to wait for another couple of laps. And hopefully we can keep ourselves in this position. Here is where the AR earthquake in this chicane, and it frustrated me quite a bit because I was trying to take different lines into the chicane, trying to be quicker than the AI, but whatever I did, I just couldn't take as quick of a line as the AI took. The AI was so tremendously quick through that chicane. As Ricciardo again is on the outside, so we'll have to leave him some room. There he goes on the outside, but similarly to what happened previously, we have the inside line and he can't do anything around the outside there, skipping to lap 24. Ricciardo still very close behind us, of course, and where is he going to do it? He has 2 chances basically, no 3. One would be if I make a mistake, one would be into turn 1. We know that that's difficult though, because we've already seen he's really capable of doing that. And one is in turn 10. This is turn 9 we're going through right now. Turn 10 is the hairpin at the end of this DRS zone. Here comes Ricciardo on our outside. We brake very late for the hairpin, go a little bit straight. In fact, we make contact with Ricciardo, and there comes flying by those 2 cars which were behind Ricciardo, Vettel, and is that Sainz? It is a Toro Rosso. I think it is Sainz. That is very unfortunate to see. I basically, I broke myself for the hairpin. Ricciardo was on our outside, and I guess it's just pure bad luck that we had some contact with Ricciardo. I just went too deep into the corner. As we can see that I make a corner extend there, trying to keep up with Vettel in order to attack him again, but you because of that I actually slowed myself down and I can forget about attacking the 2 cars up front. But I was very frustrated with that. It was just a complete driver error. It is also a little bit, you know, unlucky in some ways that Ricciardo was on our outside. As if he wasn't on our outside, we obviously wouldn't have made contact, and because of the contact we went a little bit, you know, straight on. As we get a message from our engineer saying we are a little bit down on engine power as well. But can we attack Sainz then? I mean, that Ferrari, he is gonna go and shoot up the road. However, let's try to attack Sainz. It is possible because we're quite close behind him, trying to apply a lot of pressure on Sainz, as we have a bit of a corner cut over there. Excuse me for that one. Let's see, we'll have the DRS here. This final sector is going to be crucial. If we can line ourselves up for a pass into turn 1, that would be amazing. Having said that, we know that the AI is quick in the chicane. Again, I brake late for the hairpin, however this time Ricciardo wasn't alongside us, so we didn't make any contact. And here is where it's important. You can see the car sliding a little bit there as I can, you know, as I try to get on the power. And here we go then, this chicane, this is so important. Even a little bit of a lockup on the entry because I know that they're so quick. And again, you can see that Sainz just pulls away by a couple of car lengths, and I think I'm too far back, even another extent. Really have to be careful with that because otherwise, you know, it's a bit too much and I would consider myself dirty. Ricciardo is going for another move. I stay in the outside. I don't, you know, bother defend off the inside line, bother defending the inside line because we were in the slipstream of Sainz. Sainz not really pulling away. That's something which is positive. I mean, P6 is still available for us, but at the same time we're in a bit of a sandwich as Ricciardo is still applying some pressure. I'm sure Ricciardo will be fuming as well because of what happened in turn 10. Right on the back of Sainz here. This may be my only chance on the inside of the chicane. And I think he just turned in on us over there, to be honest. Yes, it was an aggressive move. However, on the entry of the corner I was already alongside. And in my opinion, he just turned into the apex like I wasn't alongside. Here we see it. There I see ourselves clearly alongside, and there was a little bit of contact. The contact looked heavier from my point of view than it did from Sainz's point of view, to be honest. Again, I'm breaking myself into the hairpin, and Sainz actually spun behind. Okay, so Sainz has spun behind us, probably made some contact as he was being thrown off by our line into turn 10. And now we have another VSC deployed, so there's a lot of things going on here, that's for sure. And now that Sainz has also spun off, we only have to fear Ricciardo. And opening up lap 29, Ricciardo is gonna make a move. He's got a lot of speed down the straight. The DRS will be open for him as well, of course. We're gonna try to move back into the slipstream and then make a move into turn 1. Can we make it stick? Yes, we can. There we go, Ricciardo again on the outside of turn 1. Just doesn't really know where to position himself, and then he slows right down. We've saved quite a bit of fuel though. We've got quite a bit of fuel spare in the tank as I make a mistake in the exit of turn 3. Lots of mistakes here being made by me, and another mistake going deep into turn 4. Surely Ricciardo will get us. Yes, he does. So Ricciardo absolutely wrecking us there. I just completely snapped. Then having a look on the inside here, more or less to scare Ricciardo off because I came from too far back. I know that myself too. And so we have been moved back into P7 with Grosjean behind now, our rival. And you know, it's a bit meh, you know, because I don't really think that we were to blame for the incidents in this turn here, turn 10. However, you do always feel a little bit guilty. First one, which was with Ricciardo outside of us, we made contact, went straight on, 2 cars went by, and later on I wanted to attack Sainz, and I guess he tapped us on the exit or something, and then he spun. I don't think there was particularly a lot we can do. Yeah, probably make less mistakes, you know, and take a solid line. It's easier said than done though, and Ricciardo immediately has flown off into the distance. Well, that's the way it is. It hasn't really been a solid race for us though, let's be honest. Qualifying was already poor, and the raw pace was just lacking for us this race. I really hope that that's something which is different in Monaco, which is the next round, because you know we're having major problems here with the pace, and even in lap 32 we we are having to defend from a McLaren Honda. Jensen Button is in P8, actually overtook Grosjean. That's good for us because Grosjean is our rival, of course. Let's see if we can stay ahead of Button though. That is crucial. Will give us another few points. Here comes Button with the RS. He's got the McLaren Honda power unit though. We know it's not the most powerful. Similarly to Ricciardo, he's on the outside, and similar to Ricciardo, he also backs out of it. You also, you always have these moments with the AI where they always act the same regardless of the situation they're in. Well, no, that's not true. They act the same in the same kind of conditions or in the same kind of situation. For example, into turn 1, when they are on the outside and you are on the inside, you know, they're just gonna back off. They don't feel like it's worth staying on the outside to have the inside on for turn 2. So if you know that, it's very easy to defend basically for the rest of the race, because you know if you're on the inside and you brake late enough to be alongside going into turn 1, they're just gonna back out of it and you'll get that position anyway. So during a race you get to know that and you get to play like that as well. As Button again is on the outside of turn 10, not gonna happen. We stick nicely to the apex and I fed him off there. Actually I blocked him off quite aggressively there, has to be said. However, aggressive defending is alright in my opinion, as long as you stay within the books, the rule books of course. One more time through this chicane where the AI is so OP, overpowered that means. And we'll go through the final corner and take home a P7 then. It could have been a little bit more, however, you know, pace wise, we even overperformed I think, because we didn't have the raw speed to finish in P7, let's be honest, and I really hope that that's going to be different for Monaco.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
Well, I think the track conditions just really suited their car today. Wind, track temperature, you name it. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature. So the more easily you can keep them there, the better your race tends to go. And that's exactly what happened. Their car just looks so comfortable out there.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today.
One thing which is a little bit worrying about knowing that we go to Monaco is that we aren't bringing any updates. So the car won't really be improved for Monaco. However, Monaco is obviously a completely different track than Circuito de Catalunya. And because of that, we may have a few, you know, or yeah, the raw pace simply will be higher because it was simply horrible for this race.
And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. It's a good result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
It's a difficult one, but I'll have to go for the Renault driver. Look at where they finished compared to where they started. It's not easy to cut through the field like that in Formula 1, so it was a great effort.
And now let's take a look at the constructors' standings. Mercedes have extended their lead at the top of the standings. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. There'll be plenty more twists and turns to come this season. I hope you can join us at the next race to see just who will come out on top.
I've said it multiple times before, next race is Monaco, definitely looking forward to that one. Always a very, you know, yeah, a jewelry on the calendar is also what it's called. It's a very challenging track, good fun to drive, I hope. We'll see how that is going to develop. Here we have a look at the rivalry update. We finished ahead of Grosjean, that is something positive. Seems like in the qualifying we are lacking raw pace, however we make up for it in the race itself. However, Grosjean still beat us because he had faster sector times and a faster lap than us. So that's quite interesting. Despite finishing higher than us, he still beats us in the rivalry score. That's it for this episode though. If you have enjoyed it, I would appreciate a like. Next time we'll be back with Monaco and I hope to see you then. Have a good day. Goodbye.